Hi, this is Group 5. We're so happy today to introduce you our topic, creative learning in the UK and Chinese education. We'll be comparing differences in creative learning in the UK and Chinese education system. So, there are shared conceptions of creativity in the UK and China, that creativity is an important skill because it can solve pressing global issues. And more importantly, we both believe that it can be developed through education, which is why it is reflected on educational agendas of both countries. However, how creativity is conceived, valued, and nurtured are different. The differences can be explained by sociocultural theory, which grew from Vygotsky, that the society and culture can have a difference on one's learning experience and life experience. So, in this way, creativity itself is value laden and culture specific, which results in cultural variation in creativity education. Argued by Newtons, that only by understanding cultural variations in creative learning can we have insights to inform an education practice in our increasingly interconnected world. Today, we'll compare creative learning between the UK and China in three aspects. First, how we conceive creative learning from personal or social perspective, and based on different perspective, what we value in creative learning, and then how creative learning is carried out in practice. Let's begin with personal social perspective. In the UK, the creative learning is considered from personal perspective. According to Newton's, the some societies which value individualism, just like the UK, see fostering creativity as developing individuals' thinking skills and develop their abilities to cope and grow in response to the changes in their own society. In contrast to personal perspective, argued by New and Kaufman, in China, based on communism, creative learning is conceived from social perspective. Rudy was pointing out that Chinese people lack solely in creativity as an ability to create and then contribute to society, inspire others, and be appreciated. This fundamental difference determines how creative learning is valued and nurtured differently in the UK and China. However, both personal and social dimensions of creativity should be valued, as Robinson highlights that there is a need for educators to take both perspectives into account when using creativity to address the challenges of the 21st century. So, this leads us to the second part, how creative learning is valued differently in the UK and China. According to NACCCE, what can be called creativity must be imaginative and at the same time produce outcomes that are original and of value. And further described by Annabelle, creativity is a solution that is original and useful. So here, we want to introduce two defining features of creativity, novelty and usefulness. Novelty is the originality of the work, and usefulness is the appropriateness towards some certain needs. The UK and China vary in the priority placed on novelty or on usefulness. According to Morris, that in the UK and other Western cultures, people especially value novelty. However, in China, people focus more on usefulness. This difference can be explained again by social culture theory. According to the research carried out by Morris, that in Western cultures there is a salient, individualistic social norm. Generating highly original or novel solution is the way to achieve this. However, in China, there is a collectivist social norm that people should maintain social harmony, stressing usefulness to devise solutions that build on existing practice. The priority based on usefulness can explain why creative learning in China always has a stress on basic knowledge, as students are expected to master the knowledge in a particular field, and then create for improvement and development of that field based on existing knowledge and practice. So the next part, we will look at how creative learning is carried out in practice in more details. Creative learning practice in the UK can be seen from two perspectives: providing creative environment and developing individual creativity through mental process. As we mentioned before, creative learning in the UK is conceived from personal perspective and then has a focus on novelty, which makes it, as Lin suggested, process-oriented, focusing more on mental process, which involves developing individuals' creative thinking, problem solving, and possibility thinking. As for the environment, UK creative learning attach great importance to creative environment, indoor or outdoor, which rich materials and opportunities to creativity are provided. We can also find these two perspectives from the suggested creative learning practice by NACCCE and Woods and Jeffrey. Both of the practice emphasize on individual, the importance of enabling environment, and then developing relevant abilities which contribute to creativity. So, to conclude, creative learning in the UK can be seen as developing individual creativity in a creative environment through mental process. However, in China, the creative learning practice goes towards a different direction. Firstly, as we discussed before, Chinese creative learning is based on social perspective and has a focus on usefulness. In this case, argued by Lion and Kaufman, creativity in China also means fitting in and working collaboratively with one's environment, resulting in achievement with significant contribution to the environment. And there's also a heavy stress on basic knowledge, because according to New and Kaufman, in China, people believe that expertise and excellence in a particular field contribute to creative product with significant usefulness. So, creative learning in China starts from basic knowledge in one's chosen field, then through hard work and practice to gain expertise and excellence, and then is to be able to create products that are useful and appropriate in their own context. This process is also highlighted in the Chinese 2010 to 2020 National Outline for Education, Chapter 2, Article 4. In its paperwork, explained by Lin, moral education is put at the first place, and then is optimizing students' knowledge structures, based on which is comprehensive development to strengthen their abilities to learn, practice, and create. Today, we'll compare creative learning between the UK and China in three aspects. First, how we conceive creative learning from personal or social perspective, and based on different perspective, what we value in creative learning, and then how creative learning is carried out in practice. Today, we have compared how creative learning is conceived, valued, and nurtured differently in the UK and China. However, there are still much more that we want to discuss. This is really a topic worth digging. 10 minutes is never enough. After this module, we are so happy to have learned the creative learning practice in the UK, and we feel the need to understand the influence contextual factors can have on creative learning, because we hope to balance between the two sides of values and practices to reflect on and make a difference, hopefully make a difference on creative learning in Chinese education. What we need to do is repositioning our efforts of promoting creative education in the global trend as well as in our local context. There are still so many aspects to be researched on this topic. However, the finish of this film will not be an end of our learning journey. Thank you.